Good morning, everybody. In this video, we will go over the YieldMax single stock ETF trades and the holdings for April 10th. So I have all of the trade data here on the holdings tab, so we won't need to reference that. So all we'll be doing is going through the holdings tab here, and we'll cover it all in one. All right. So I think this is like the second or third hour of talking in videos this evening, so please forgive me. I will try to speak louder. I know the past couple of days, I guess I've haven't spoke loud enough due to me being sick and trying, not to aggravate my throat to cause me to cough, but I am trying to speak up a little bit louder regardless there. So hopefully this is a little bit better. And I'll try to keep this in mind going forward, because I do know sometimes I'll do something and I'll mumble something. It's really more to myself. But I know you can feel like you might be missing something. But anyway, reminder, not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And yeah, we're going to jump right into this. However, I will say I did add something today, something I'm just playing around with. If you don't normally watch the daily roundup for this because you watch this video, at the end of that video, I just started pulling in some data based on the synthetic strike prices and the differences since like March 15th when most of their synthetics, expired, what the stock price has done, if we're under, how much we're under by share. Yeah, just, I don't know. I just pulled a bunch of data, and then I looked at the underlying. How is the underlying down? Just trying to connect some dots there. And specific really for AIYY, because this one concerns me. Like I like AI, and I like AIYY, and I actually have quite a bit of it. So it's concerning when you see it down to, Tesla levels, right? OARC levels. It's down to $12. This is just so unreal. But, I know we're not even started yet, but look right there at that synthetic, 12.5 million. The last several days, it was going to be 10 million to close this out. Now we're looking at 12.5 million. And this is exactly what happened with Tesla. And, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse until it just gets so bad. And then it's time to expire. Now we have to pay a huge fee for that. But anyway, just to show you real quick at the end, if you haven't watched it, I'm not going to go through it, but I just gathered some of this data looking at it. And you can see here, like for AIYY, if we're looking here, the put, it's a first, this one in this case, it's the only put, it's 35. The underline, minus that put, we're $11.40 below that strike price, which is 33%, which is obviously not good. Now, if we take the synthetic market value divide this and make this per share. Now, this had 2-point-something million dollars in outstanding shares, almost 2.3 million outstanding shares. And so right now we're at a $5.50 loss for each one of those shares because of this synthetic. So now that makes sense, why this stock is down so much. Now, I will say that now some of these were probably traded out. I didn't actually go back and see when they closed these out. I know they expired on the 15th with the exception of Misty. It was the 28th, but these may have been closed out a few days prior to this. I know AIYY also had earnings, so, they went huge way up, and then they've just been coming back down, which has really hurt this stock. But that synthetic right there is really killing us. But this right here is just showing since the 15th. Since the 15th where it was, where we're at now, our drop since then. So the ETF YieldMax were down 15% there. And then, of course, this is the actual AI stock. It's down 17%. But anyway, and then, of course, I have this discolor just so I can, easily see here. We talked so much about the short calls and how important they are. We usually just put those synthetics to the side, but those synthetics are, some of these are ones that are really hurting us. It's happened with Tesla this last time, and it's happening with AIYY this time. And I know it's happened with some of the other ones. I just can't recall which ones they were because probably something I wasn't invested in. But anyway, I showed that today. I don't know if we keep it or if anybody ever wants to see this or if I should develop this a little bit more. It was just something that I was playing around with earlier. But it, goes directly to this and AIYY and why the stock price is down. It's so much and how this synthetic is affecting it. But anyway, so we'll get off of that topic. We'll go through this. So AIYY closed at 12 at 72 today. You can see it's down, I don't know, somewhere around 50 cents. And AI is down, or it's at 23.61, so it's down like $1 something there. But anyway, we have they added 1,000, it kills me. They added 1,045 contracts to the existing synthetic position. Of course, as you can see, they ended up making $1.1 million or $1.16 million off of this. But I wonder how much we're going to have to pay to close this next week. Like, is it worth it? I mean, I don't know, because I'm not really an options person. So I do this and I go through these videos and I provide y'all with all this data, but I am not an options person. I'm a spreadsheet person. I'm a data collector, data analyst, however you want to look at it. But anyway, just to put some of these, connect some of these dots for those that don't, know how some of these things work. What I will say is for the short call side of it, they created a new short call for those 1,045 contracts and added them for next week. Of course, looking here, they only got like 42,000 from it. But it's also a lot lower strike price than all the rest of ours. So that strike price is going to be $24.50. So we're less than $1 from that. And actually, we were over that yesterday. So I guess they're expecting the stock to go down more. I'm not sure here. But you can see right now it says we're 4% below that strike price. Which is really only roughly 89 cents there. I probably need to stop doing this public math because I'm probably like way off and you're like, she can't add. And then doing it, this late or this early in the morning, I don't know. My brain's not fully functioning. Anyway, we have 3 more short calls that will expire in 2 days. And these are probably, they're probably going to expire, or they'll probably pay the cent or two to close these out on Friday. I don't know what kind of catalyst would make these come back up, but right now the straight prices are 26, 26.50, and 27. So we're 9, 11, and 13% below that. And then we've already really talked about this, but see, we have our synthetic position that expires next week, and we are 33% below this strike price of $35 because we are at 23.61. And then over here, if you want to see the market value for all of those there, or the current market price there. Yeah, I'm looking at here, like these show right now that these could be closed out at 3 or 2 cents. But of course, the closer we get to Friday, right, it's going to go down to 1 cent. And then they'll pay those to close them out. Anyway, I know we've spent a lot of time on that, talking about the synthetics and all this. I'm going to try to move faster through this video. I apologize. So we have AMDY closed at 18.31. AMD closed at 167.14. So both of those are slightly down today. And they added 155 contracts to the synthetic position. And then they created a new short call that will expire in 2 days. So yeah, $170 strike. We're 2% below that, or $2.86. It's only 155 contracts. Of course, then we have the other 2 short calls, the 172.50, which were 3% under, and the 177.50, 50. And of course you can see here this synthetic, the strike price is 200, and for our synthetics we want the stock to be above that price, and here it's not, which is why we have the negative 16%. And you can see if you look over there on the left, or if you wanted to look at the market column here, but you'd have to add them together. Right now for AMD, it would cost $21.5 million to close the synthetic out. However, for this one, it does not, it's still a month away. So it has time to come up. So I will not talk about these unless they're like the one above AIYY, which actually expires in April. It'll save a little bit of talking time here. A little bit of time of you not having to listen to me go through every single thing on here. But then we have AMZN here. It closed at $23.34 today. Amazon closed at $185.95. Both of those just up by pennies there. They added 70 contracts to the synthetic and created a new short call that will expire next week, and that strike price is $190, so we're 2% under that. Of course, we also have a $190 strike price short call that will expire this week in 2 days, so 2% under. And then we have the 187.50, 1% under, roughly $1.05 or something there. No, that doesn't add up. Says what I get for math, right? Was that $1.55 maybe? I don't know. Don't hold me to that. All right, so we're going to move on down, and we have AAPL with no trades closing at $16.62, down 2 cents, while Apple itself closed at $167.78, which is down almost $2. We have 3 short calls that expire Friday with a strike price of $170, $172.50, and $175. We are 1%, 3%, and 4% below those strike prices. And then we go to Coney. Coney is up today at $26.16. Coin is up to $250.99. They added 500 contracts to the synthetic position, and didn't make much money off of that. But sorry. Then they added a new short call. Sorry, I didn't type this with all caps there. I had to overwrite that formula. But we have a new short call here for expiration of next week with the new strike price of $262.50, and we are down below that by 4%. Of course, we have the short call that will expire this week at $257.50, and we're underneath it by 3%. And then you can see here, this one's actually perfect right now, right? The synthetic that expires next week, that strike price is $250, and we're green at 0% because today we closed at $250.99. So we our stock price for coin is just right above the synthetic, and that's where we want it to be, is above the synthetic but below the short call. Okay. So then move on to Dizzo. It closed at $21.04, and Disney closed at $117.19. Both of those down a few cents. They added 45 contracts to the existing synthetic and the short call with a strike price of $119, which we're currently 2% below. Then we also have the strike price of $120, $121. Below those 2-3%, and those will expire this Friday as well. Phoebe, no trades here, but it closed today at $22.25. Meta closed at $519.83. Both of those up just a little bit. We can see over here we have 2 short calls that will expire this Friday with the strike prices of $5.25 and $5.35. So we're under those 1% and 3%. Of course, the majority of the contracts are sitting at the $5.35 strike price with almost 1,200 contracts there, and only 25 at the other one. If we move on to GUI, it closed at $17.50, which is up 5 cents. But Alphabet closed at $156.14, which was actually down 46 cents. So interesting. Okay, so this one All right, sorry about that. I did have to make one change here. I had to manually change these numbers earlier. So this is really combined here. What they did was they had two synthetic positions with two different strike prices, a 135 and a 150. So what they've done is they've rolled the 135 strike price, synthetic positions, and now they have added, rolled that to the 150 strike price. So that's what these were. But then also they bought in, or they did, and added 70 contracts to those synthetics and then created a new short call for next week. So we did have several things going on here, and I just wanted to make sure, and I can just show you here, even because it is a lot. I did try to combine it though to save time from going through the trades here. But you can see here on the top, that's where they added the 70, the new contracts, the new money that came in, right? Those first three lines, your synthetic call, the put, and then the short call. And then the next two lines is where they rolled those, the 135 strike price, as you can see right here, for the 985 contracts to the 150 there. And then this is where I was just adding these numbers together to update the other sheet manually. But it got a little confusing, and I just wanted to make sure this was 100% right. But that's what happened there. So you can see we have the short call here that expires this week, so in a couple of days, and we're still over this strike price by $1.14 because Alphabet has been going up. Of course, that's where almost all of our contracts are, so we'll see what happens. Right now, it's showing that it'll cost us $1.95 a share to close these out. But we'll see. We still have a couple of days. And then, of course, our new short call that will expire next week, which they did at a strike price of $157.50. So we're only like $1.36 away from that. Yeah. Or 1% under that. But anyway, so scroll over and we will move on to JPMO, which closed at $20.97. And JPM closed at $195.47. So those are down just a little bit today. They did have new money come in, and they added 25 contracts to the synthetic position and created a new short call that will expire in 2 days with a strike price of $202.50. So they're below that strike price by 3%, and they brought in $2,300 for that. And then, of course, some money on the synthetic as well. So every little bit counts, I guess. And we have two more short calls that expire Friday at those strike prices of $205 and $207.50. So we're ranging 3 to 6% below those strike prices there for these short calls. If we move on to Murney, it looks like there were no trades. And so this one had been going up. It actually was above. It actually still is above the strike price. And then, of course, so Murney stopped, and then Moderna started coming down, and then so did Murney. So you can see it's come down just a little bit today to $20.34. Moderna, though, it came down around 4.5 cents. I mean $4, $4.50ish. So we're at 107.14, which is good because our short call, we were over it, $4 or $5. And now we're over just by 14 cents. Of course, it's still showing $1.94 to close that out, but that was as of close today. All right. So we will move on to MSFO with no trades. And it closed today at $22.12. Microsoft closed at $423.26, so those were down just a little bit. We do have 3 short calls that expire Friday with the strike prices of $430, $432.50, and $435. We're currently, the stock price is currently below these strike prices by 2 to 3%, but the majority of our contracts are sitting at the $430 strike price. So we're roughly $6.74 from that. And we're slightly under that synthetic. We move on to Misty. Misty closed at $36.99 today, and I was not following this one today. I was following MicroStrategy itself, only because I personally have been swing trading these with the up and down craziness it's been doing. As you can see here, yesterday it closed at 14.41, and today it was at 15.66. So it's been up, down, up, down, up, down the last several days. But they added 22 contracts to the existing synthetic position and created a new short call for that will expire next Friday, and that strike price is at $16.35. You see, we have one, which I think this is the one from yesterday, strike price at $15.30, so we're over that one now by 2% or $36. We only have 75 contracts there, but it's showing if we had to close those out today, it would cost us $68.50 a share. We only have 75 contracts there right now. But we also have strike prices of $16.57.50, $17.05, $17.50, $19.20, and then of course the new one at $16.35. So we're over one of them, and then the rest of them range between 14 to 18% under the strike price. Our contracts are pretty much spread out everywhere, but it looks like the majority of them are sitting at that $17.05 strike price, which we're 8% under for 290 contracts. And then the other bulk is at the $19.20 with 130. So I don't think we're going to get to that $19.20, so I think those are okay. Honestly, this has been ranging between $1,300 and $1,600 or $1,350 to $1,650 for like the past week. So we'll see. For the sake of Misty, hopefully we will not go over the 1705. For the sake of my swing trading account, I wouldn't mind it. But anyway, if I didn't say it at the beginning of this video, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes. So don't do anything I say. Don't do what I do. And take my opinions with a grain of salt. I provide you with the data and the facts that, is received from the website in a manner in which it's better seen and can be consumed here for you to make your own opinions, right? But anyway, so moving on, Netflix closed at 18.08. It had no trades today, and Netflix closed at 618.58, so both of them were up a few pennies. We have two short calls that expire Friday with the strike price of $6.50 and $6.55. We're currently 5 and 6% below those strike prices. NVIDIA did not have any trades today. It closed at 26.22, so it was actually up. Along with NVIDIA, it was up. It closed at 870.39. We have three short calls that expire Friday, and our first one is 870, so we are currently 39 cents over that strike price. Currently, it shows it would cost us almost $11 to close this one out, but we do have 2 days left, so we will see how that goes. We do have a huge negative on that synthetic, but we have over a month away for those. But anyway, sorry, back to the short calls. I got sidetracked. We have two more. So we have the 8.95 strike price. We're under that by 3%, and then the 9.10 strike price. We're under that by 4%. And that's where the majority of the contracts are, with over 4,000 at that 9.10. And then we have OARC closing at 12.41. ARC closed at 47.49. We have three short calls here that will expire on Friday with the strike prices of 48.50, 49, and 49.50. So we're currently 2 to 4% below those strike prices. We move on to PayPay. It closed at 19.23, so no change from yesterday. And PayPal actually went down. Was at $1.12, while PayPay stayed the same. Awesome. Anyway, so PayPal was at 65 at 88. They added 105 contracts to the existing synthetic and short call position there today. Sorry, I'm looking at this. So they didn't make any money by doing that. Let's see. That's a strike price of 67, and that's above trades here. Just look to make sure we're not missing something else. So, nope. It shows a negative 8,000. So we paid 8,000 in total to open those positions. All right, just wanted to make sure there. So there we are. So we have our short call for Friday that expires on Friday at the strike price of $67, which is where we were yesterday. Now today we're below that by 2%. And then if we move on to SQUE, we have no trades. It closed today at 23.39, while block closed at 78.51. Those are slightly lower today, and the short call that expires Friday is a strike price of $80, and we're currently 2% below that. Then we have Tesla here that closed at 15.30 today, and Tesla closed at 171.76, so these went down today, which Tesla's been going up. It's just been slightly, but it's been going up the past several days, so I knew it was going to, it's just been ranging in that 165 to 178 range. But we have two short calls that expire Friday with 172.50 strike price, so we're less than $1 from that one right now. What is that, about 74 cents? And then we have the 182.50 strike price, and we're 6% below that one. We move on to Zomo, which had no trades. They closed today at 18.68, while Exxon closed at 122.20, so they were both up a little. And the strike price for the short call that expires on Friday is 124, and we're below that by 1%. And then YMAG today looks like it went down 1 cent to 20.63, and YMAX went down 4 cents to 21.43. All right. Yep. So that's it. Sorry for the long talk at the beginning of this, and I will let y'all go. And I appreciate everybody watching. And I always forget to ask this, but I was wanting to start doing this at the beginning of every video until I hit 1,000. But if you're watching this, and if you've watched a few of my videos and want to continue, if you would just please subscribe if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it. Just trying to get to that that 1,000 subscription milestone. Thank y'all so much, and have a great day tomorrow. Bye.